Hey,
Happy
happy
Monday, guys.
Monday. It could be the mindful Monday. It could be motivational Monday, or it could be the Monday rundown. Happy Monday, everybody. Say that. Community, we are super excited to be with you. If this is your first time with us, let us know in the chat. Just we love saying hello to all our first timers. Just say hello in the
Say
comments.
that.
We'll say hello to you back. And our Monday rundowns are to talk about all the things that we don't get to talk about on Wednesdays in terms of business. We have great questions that you guys send us, and then we answer that question and look to content creators, thought leaders on the subject as well to give us more insight and ideas.
Absolutely. And this week, I think this might have a little bit to do what we got done talking, the conversation we had this past week with Cindy, which was amazing. Definitely make sure you guys go and check out this past Wednesday's
Yes.
episode. A really, really insightful conversation. But let's jump into today's question and let's discuss.
Is small talk deeper than we think? Hmm. I mean, I think this is really close to what Cindy was talking about, just in terms of like networking and how it can help your business.
Mm.
Um, and sometimes networking and small talk could be the same thing. um,
Awesome.
that's usually how most conversations start, right? Like you start off with a little bit of like, man, it's cold right now. Like everywhere in the US, it's cold right now. Or like I don't know, how are you, the kids, what are some
Yeah,
other
yeah.
small talk things? So weather, kids, if you have a four-legged furry friend like myself, those are like the things I think we talk about, like small talk. um and depending how people respond, right, like it could lead to a more in-depth conversation
Then you think, right?
than you think. Yeah.
I would say, and similar to the way I think you're looking at it, I do believe that it can be more than maybe some of us think. I think our intention and our awareness around that plays the bigger role. So the thing that comes to mind is just the other day we were in Wendy's grabbing something to eat, and there were a lot of kids, and there were, you know, what I would now describe as just being kids, a little rambunctious. And I made a remark to Jeannie about the noticing these kids. And then I proceeded to the front to get our food. And a guy who I don't think ordinarily would have a conversation with me or a remark or comment to me commented on the same thing I just noticed and
Mm.
made a comment about, man, these kids in here, right? And so what I've started to become, and that's why I meant use the word awareness, is I'm becoming aware of the things that I think and say, and how who comes to me and what their conversation is about is has a lot to do with myself. So
Mm.
again, that guy, I know that those kids were in there, but I don't think if I was as focused on it, I don't think he would have maybe looked, because for all I know, maybe he saw me look at them or whatever the case. I don't know what I did or how my actions made him come to me to make that statement, but I've
Mm.
become very aware that I'm attracting the conversations that come into my life. I'm
Mm.
attracting and again, even the small ones. I,
Mm.
I'm attracting that. And the way I would consider that is how when we used to do in network marketing, a big intention of mine, and I know Janelle used to be like, we used to praise her for this, was her ability to connect with people in Uber rides, like the Uber
Ah.
Queen. And so that's the other part of it. So your intention, I think if you have an intention, and I think that was Janelle's thing. There was an intention maybe before our business started as I'm just in a ride. I'm just I'm just trying to get where I'm going. To the intention then became, oh no, I want to have a connection with this person. I want to try and see if I can connect with this person in this 15-20 minute ride to see if there could be something more that we could build. We started recognizing through network marketing that the relationships you have can actually be very fruitful, and you may not be asking the right questions. You may not be talking to your friends about the right things. So I definitely think small talk is much deeper than many of us are aware of.
100. You just put a whole different level on it than I even was thinking about, and I totally agree with you. Certainly, I think we attract certain awarenesses, right? Like, your vibe attracts your tribe.
Oh
There's
yeah,
definitely
yeah,
some
yeah,
truth to
yeah.
that. And also,
Yeah, always.
there's an intentionality around the small talk. Um, if there's no intention behind it, then it'll just be like, oh, maybe I made a new connection today. But if there's intention behind it, maybe it's like I really am looking to make a new connection.
Yeah, yeah.
If this is the person who would be a good connection to make with to make one with.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I
I
love
love
that.
this. Well, it's not just us. Today's content creator, or I should say thought leader, because we love them. We're
Yeah,
going back
seriously.
to our friends in the school of life. We love our friends at the school of life. They always like they never do us wrong. We're gonna hear what they have to say on the topic. So let's pull that up and see what they've got to say.
Here we go.
Taking time to have small chats about nothing in particular with people we don't know and are unlikely ever to meet again can, from some perspectives, seem like the height of absurdity. Maybe we're in a coffee shop and someone's preparing us a drink. Perhaps we've crossed a neighbour in the hallway while getting our post. Or we're on a train waiting for the doors to open. Why would we bother to hold up our day for a few moments, given how many things we already need to do and how many good friends we already have that we haven't seen in far too long? We may also have a more high-minded defense for our silence. We aspire to be profound people, and there is no way that we can get anywhere meaningful with a near or complete stranger in a compressed amount of time. We shun the smaller chats because, in the back of our minds, we tell ourselves that we are already sufficiently deeply committed to the long and consequential ones. But this is to miss the point and the opportunities presented by minor social exchanges. They stand in relation to lengthy friendships rather as haikus do next to 1,000-page novels. There are things a tiny poem can do that a comprehensive narrative will miss. There are single sentences that can mark us as much as entire volumes. There are pictures that can stick with us in a way that a 3-hour film won't. We can be disproportionately and yet powerfully touched by so-called minor things. Small sympathetic chats matter above all because few of us are ever very far from sadness and despondency. There are so many reasons to dislike ourselves, to be paranoid about what other people think, and to regret mistakes we've made. When we are in a febrile or fragile mood, a short, kindly exchange can be all that's needed to start to turn around a deeply dark day. An enormous amount of sympathy and fellow feeling can be compressed in the most minuscule dialogue. They make them like that to torture us, don't they? We might say to a parent struggling to close the zip on a child's jacket in a sudden downpour, thereby sending a modest sign that we know how difficult things can be and that we have, in some ways, been there or somewhere like there ourselves. Or we might, on our way to a station, exchange 1 or 2 sympathetic words with a taxi driver about their elderly mother, who, we learn, has just gone into a care home after having a fall. The chat won't change anything in an already tricky situation, but the humanity on display might just. The philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer remarked that we can never know for sure who around us may, at any particular moment, be thinking of ending their own life. The thought usefully puts into relief what might be at stake in any exchange. We may, at points and without any obvious warning, be the last thing between someone and their decision to despair. A charge often made against small chats is that we can surely only be pretending to be friendly. Yet this is to miss out how much and how deeply our hearts may go out to people whose lives we merely brush against. We can imagine our way into pains whose details we will never know. We can, if it doesn't sound too paradoxical, love a stranger. And even more oddly, for only a minute or two. We are, in all this, so often held back by unhelpfully grand ideas of what it means to change the world. We imagine the requirements for improvement on such a large scale that along the way we end up grievously neglecting what it is actually in our powers to achieve right now, today, the next time we go out. We suffer from an upside-down view of where significance can lie. We are assembled out of small things and may live or die by their presence or absence. We have in our hands a very potent weapon already, the power to say a warm, gentle, sympathetic hello.
Man, these guys always bring the heat.
I mean, my sentimental self, I'm like tearing up.
Now it's funny. There were a couple examples that, even as I was initially, I guess, processing the question and answering, that came to mind. And similarly, and then they gave even the one about thinking somewhat like thinking a conversations around about you with people nearby, and just that the way that our mind tends to at times, the neurotic nature of our minds. I had that this morning actually. I had to talk myself off. Not in a and the what came from it was actually some compassion for myself, because I realized that it's a pattern. It's just something, it's just a thing that my mind has done for a period of time. And so one of my I definitely know was for today. I was like, oh, my whole thing for today is just to not criticize myself when I do and think the things that, in the moment I'm not understanding and why those thoughts are coming up. So just compassion for myself.
That reminds me of the Tasmanian devil exercise that we experienced at Journey. The things that you tell you. Remember the Tasmanian devil exercise? Marcus was saying there was a Tasmanian devil, and he was
oh yeah. You just came back.
So anyway, but yes, so I bring that up only because I remember for me it was an insight into your brain and like what are some of the things that you think about, and then like how harshly you have in the past like punish yourself for the thoughts that you've worked like that you're saying.
Not copacetic way.
Yeah. Well, so there's that, and then to that and the other side of it where it gets to a point where who knows the thoughts that people are thinking to themselves and how they're beating themselves up, that they just think, you know what, it's not worth it anymore. I will like, no one will miss me if I'm gone. And how a simple exchange might be the thing that changes that decision. It's true. You just don't know. You don't know what anybody's going through as we like walk around.
Yeah. And the to that, what came to mind for me was the idea that we, in understanding our true value outside of maybe monetary value, there's I don't know if we get as often as we should how powerful our presence here is. And it's to the point that we're making about, because it's not always, because more of life is not going to be about making the final shot or achieving the goal or solving world peace or any of those things. It's going to be it's going to be the holding the door at the store for somebody, it's to this point, the small exchange with somebody in the cab or in the elevator as you go. It's like life is so much, if not 89% of those moments. And if we could value ourselves in those moments, again, I held the door for somebody today. I get it. It didn't seem like it solved some big thing, but you really don't know if that person in that moment was like, man, nothing goes my way. And then that little act could be the trigger to help them recognize that, oh, my life isn't as bad as it seems, So yeah, if we could just, as we learn, let me know if we could, as we are learning to really value ourselves, I think we'll start to see moments like this and think videos like this maybe helping others to find some sense of peace in this world.
Say that. This was amazing.
Monday morning, right?
Yeah, right.
I just want to get my coffee and get to work, bro.
This ended up being a very mindful Monday on the Monday rundown.
Well, guys, I like that. We could at the end of the
Yeah. Yeah. So please put your comments in the chat if you agree. If this has been a mindful Monday on the Monday rundown for you as well, please go ahead and let us know. We love to see your comments. We love that interaction with you. But until next Monday, as always, remember that you deserve the good life. Say that.
We'll see you guys.